everybody, Heather here from HeathersHobbieHaven, and today we're going to color our January Copic card coloring kit of the month. And this month we are using a Whimsy stamp called Florist. And I love these stamps because they're really deeply etched red rubber. And look how thick this is. It's really nice, and it stamps great. I've already stamped my my image on Nina 80-pound solar white cardstock with Memento ink. And here's what the finished card looks like. So let's get started. Alright, so I always start by shading my image all the way around so it looks like it's kind of coming off the paper. So I'm going to do that with C0. And I just go all the way around and make a little line. And I'm even going to get a few of these little swirls. Okay, and then up here in her hair she has a few loops that are sticking up, but in between is the background, so I'm going to color in those. Okay, now we're going to color her skin, and for that we're going to use E21, E00, and E000. And I'm going to start with E21. And I'm going to start down here on her arm, and I'm going to get right next to her sleeve. And I'm going to go along the bottom of her arm and get a little bit underneath these flower leaves. And then she's got a little bit of her arm sticking out on this side, so I'm going to go ahead and get that. And then I'm going to blend that with E00. And I just kind of feather it just a little bit. So my pen touches down on the E21, and then I feather it, kind of pull it up into my white area. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to do her shoulders and her neck. So again, I'm going to go back to E21. And then E00, and again I'm going to feather over the top of my E21 and pull a little bit of that with my marker I'm using now. Okay, so for her face I'm going to start again with E21, and I'm going to do where I want it to be shadowed, so let's get right in here in her ear. And then I'm going to get underneath of her hairline. And get underneath of her chin. A little lip, and she's got a nose there, but I'm going to give her a little bit of a nose shadow, so I'm just going to take my pen and go like that and start her a shadow for her nose there where it would have some shadowing on the back side. And then I'm going to switch to E00. And then I'm just going to feather right along my E21 and pull it out, just like I did for her arm. Okay, now I want to add some cheek color, so I'm going to add R20 and R30. And I'm going to start with R20. And then I'm going to feather the edges with R30. And for that, I'm just going to tap my pen right along the edge. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to darken up her whole face by starting again with E21. Add some more shadows in here. And then I'll grab my E00. And then I'm going to go over the whole thing with E000. But again, I'm going to start out here where I did E21, and I'm just going to feather it up into the middle of her face, going over both layers of the color I already laid down. And then I think I'm going to darken up down here on her neck and her chin here a little bit, or her shoulders a little bit too. And this is E00, and the last one was E21. And then I'm going to go over that whole area with E000. Okay, next we're going to work on her hair, and for that I'm going to start with my lightest shade this time. So I'm going to start with E50. And I'm going to start behind her braid here first, and I'm just going to put a little light coat of this right behind her braid, because I'm going to work in sections. So I'm going to do this back part, and then I'm going to do this front, and then I'm going to do her braid, and then I'm going to work on the little loops of her hair. So then I'm going to move to E51, and I'm going to add a little bit of shading in there. So I want my shading to come up the back, right along the braid. She's going to have some shading. This little loop-de-doo is going to cast a little shadow. And then I'm going to add even more shading by going to E53. And a little bit of that right along her braid. And then maybe underneath where this little loop-de-doo is going up. And then for the deepest shadows, I'm going to do E55. I want that to be close to the braid, so I'm going to make that right next to it. And then I'm going to go backwards and blend it by going E53. And then E51. And then again with E50.